Okay, I wanted to quickly record this video because I've realized three key things that make my business partners really good at stakeholder management. Stakeholder management is something you deal with in every phase of your business. It's not only your shareholders or your clients, it might be your mom, it's everybody that's getting affected through you running your business. And it's everybody that might have an impact on your business. But not everybody has a similar level of impact. And fundamentally, what you should be doing is evaluating, okay, who are the high impact stakeholders and how do I communicate with them? How do I apply the three key things that I'm going to introduce in a bit to make sure I have the most optimal result? I have two business partners in two different businesses and in two different countries actually. But they have very similar characteristics. And these three key things that we're going to jump into right now are what they use to be successful stakeholder managers. The first element is consistent communication. I am not a great communicator. While I can make videos and I can, let's say, have client meetings and strategy, let's say, meetings, I'm not the type of guy to check in regularly and, let's say, communicate each step of how far we are. I know I'm not great at it. So I found people in my businesses that can actually help me with this. And how they do it is that they define very clearly what the project is. And then at a certain interval, they always check in with the person, even if there's no update. Sometimes it's even personal. Hey, I knew there's this thing going on with your family. I wanted you just to check in and see how it's going. But they can do this so naturally and so consistently that it leaves all the stakeholders involved feeling listened to, supported, and involved. Another key point is managing expectations. Understanding what the stakeholders are expecting from the entire process you're going through, and then communicating, let's say, the steps effectively to them makes a big difference. And this becomes even bigger when the stakeholders are clients, for example. Let's say we did a discovery session where we broke down the business of a client and suggested them basically a new method of doing acquisition. At the end of it, we have to provide a report. But when I estimate the time that it will take to provide the report, I consider only that specific client. That timing that I give to my business partner is never the timing that gets communicated to the client, because they look at the organization as a total and not only look at this specific stakeholder, they look at everybody else that are expecting something and allocate the time accordingly so that we don't only, let's say, meet our time that we set for the project, but we also, let's say, over deliver. Ideally, we provide the document, provide the result earlier than the client was expecting. The last element that I've noticed is this willingness to wear the other person's shoes. You cannot manage stakeholders effectively if you don't understand them. And both of my business partners are, well, fundamentally good people. But more than that, they also are willing to listen. They're willing to not only listen, but even in the middle of conflict or friction, to set aside their beliefs and try to hash it out in that moment as calmly as possible. And generally, there isn't real friction, right? There might be sparks, but then they get doused in water immediately. And this is a human component that they have that I think has amazing impact towards our stakeholders. Those are the three things I've realized that are making a huge difference in how we do our stakeholder management. But if you paid attention, I'm really talking about the same thing three times. Communication, communication, communication. It's just that communication has a lot in it. And if you consider the expectations that people have and you manage it, if you consider who they are as a person and you pay attention to that and you try to understand their perspective, even if you don't agree, and you consistently check in, generally it will be successful. Hope this can provide some value to you for how you should handle your stakeholder management, and maybe be like me. If you're not great at it, find somebody that is, because it's a key component in your business and in your professional life.